This is Blueberry, the car that I've built to be one of the lowest 65 Mustangs on the planet. The only issue with it now is that the stock 289 blew a head gasket. So basically what I have here is a head gasket tester kit. Now if this turns yellow, that's bad. In 2 minutes, if it turns yellow. So I'm gonna fix it. And by fix it, I mean I'm going to install aluminum heads, a dirt nasty camshaft, a roller conversion, and possibly even a supercharger. So why don't we get on that? I gotta get her centered on the lift, so let's listen to the 289 one more time, bone style. It's gonna be a lot nastier when I'm done with it. You know your car is low when you can barely get on the pinch welds. If you remember, this is the car that we built in one day and then revisited. So basically I got it running, driving, stopping, and then we slammed it and pimped it all out. And basically the whole time, every time I drove it, the car overheated. I like to think it was a simple problem like a thermostat, but we did a head gasket test and it failed brutally. So this thing definitely needs the heads pulled off. Oh, why did we run the car for so long before doing this? That thing's got a hell of a prostate. Before we really start tearing down, I have a to-do list prepared called Blueberry Grows Balls. I've probably forgotten many things on it, but I have most of what I need to do to make this thing absolutely badass, and we have a ton of work to do. I'm totally underestimating how long it's gonna take, but all I can do now is tear this apart. Radiator out. Fuel pump out. There you are. Ooh, and we're making a mess. You gonna drink some, cameraman?
Yes, please.
Off comes the carburetor. Ooh, more fuel. Dual plane intake manifold. There you go. There we are. Check it out, 289. And as we can see, it is flat tappet, meaning non-roller engine. I'm gonna convert this engine to a roller motor just so it's more reliable and we don't have to break in the cam. But that being said, I believe this is the factory 289. Similar to 8-Ball, which had its factory 289 that I seized, I am going to treat this one right. I'm not going to overheat it until it locks up and melts pistons. I'm going to be nice. I'm gonna put nice parts on it and we are gonna appreciate this motor. Alternator. Probably gonna do the same thing I did with 8-Ball and convert this to serpentine with a 1-wire alternator just because it simplifies everything. But if I'm gonna do that, may as well put a supercharger on it too. Oh, there it is. Come on, crank pulley. Pop off for me. That's probably never come off. Water pump. I don't think the water pump was a problem. There goes the rest of the coolant in the motor. I really like when cameraman removes manifold bolts for me when I don't have to. Those do suck. Ooh, yikes. That balancer is not good anymore. Great, that's awesome. Might as well finish it off. Great, well, that is the problem with old balancers. They use rubber to seal together. And when the rubber is old, it will come apart like that. Great, that just made that process harder. Attempt 2 with a different puller. Now we're cooking. Up next, I'm really hoping the timing cover can come off without dropping the oil pan. Although I'm a little nervous that it's gonna totally destroy the oil pan seal and I'm gonna have to drop the pan to get it back on. In fact, saying this out loud, I know that's the case. And I'm gonna do it anyways. Hey, brother, please, don't be shy. Oh, look at that. Oh, wow. Okay. Gasket is, not quite salvageable. Still that piece on there. I might be able to silicone the shit out of that and cross my fingers. There we go. All right. Hey, somebody gave Blueberry a little bit of performance love. We got roller tipped rockers. I'm curious to see if the cam in it was stock. It sounded pretty stock, but you never know. I should probably break those loose by hand before I snap one. Somebody tell me why the head bolts smell like a perfectly cooked steak. We have all unanimously agreed that these all Smell like delicious steak. Like I really want to eat these bolts right now. There's one bottom cylinder head bolt, but we gotta put it on the lift and take the manifolds off all the way in order to get to the rest of them, or else it's gonna be a pain in the ass. Finally, exhaust disconnected. I'm gonna be putting shorty headers on this, so I'm not worried about the hardware or the manifolds or anything. As far as I'm concerned, these factory 289 manifolds are scrap metal. Getting a little lazy with the bottom bolts. The big impact made very quick work of that. So now I can pull the heads off. I'm gonna leave the push rods in and just let them fall out because I don't really have any use for them in the future. These are iron heads, and boy, they are heavy. Heavy. Push rods. Hello and goodbye. Mr. Cylinder Head, come on out. Get it off the dowel pins. Boom! Look at that. Nice thing about Rat Rod, it's my workbench. Good news! Check us out! You see that little stamp right there? 30 over. Dude, Blueberry has had some work done. We've got valve relief pistons here, 30 over. I'm not quite sure what the math is on that. I think it's like a, yeah, I don't know. What's a 30 over 289? I don't know, but I'll find out. Cylinder walls look pretty good from what I can see right now. I'm gonna yank the other head off, but dude, I thought this thing was spunky, dude. Head number 2. Oh, almost dropped it. It's okay. Push rod, out. Cylinder head, out. I looked it up. A 30 over 289 is like a 292.9 or something like that, so it's basically a 293. The only thing exciting here is that those are aftermarket pistons. I don't know if they're forged or what, but someone has been through the bottom end of this motor at some point, and that's awesome. This thing is looking really good. The only worry is there's a possibility that the deck surface could be slightly warped, which could cause it to blow a head gasket, but the cylinder walls themselves look honestly decent. This is good news, super awesome, super exciting, and that just means Blueberry is gonna run all the more better. To the lifters, all I have is this little magnet that grabs them and pulls them out. Like I said, this is a stock 289, which is a flat tappet cam engine, and by flat tappet, I mean this. These are the lifters that ride on the camshaft. They are flat. The issue with these is over time they will wear out and they will wipe out camshaft lobes and they will wipe themselves out and send oil all through the motor. Lifter failure happens commonly with new lifters because nowadays the lifters are made with cheaper materials. So during the break-in process, they tend to fail and wipe out your cam, kill the whole motor. So I am going to get rid of these and I'm going to install roller lifters. I can pull these out so fast. Boom, 1, 2, 3. Oh, they slippery. 4, 5, 6. 7, 9, 10. It's like fishing. I don't fish. Now, cam gears and camshaft. As you can see, I've aligned the cam gears dot to dot. So now I can remove the cam bolt along with the fuel pump cam lobe. And then slip off the gear set. There she is. Now I'm just gonna go a little bit at a time, top and bottom, wiggle, wiggle. There goes the cam gear, and there goes the crank gear. I got a new set, so I'm just gonna set these aside for now. If you couldn't see in that last shot, there's an arrow pointing up on the bottom gear, and there's a dot right there on the cam gear. So that's how you line them up. Thinking this is a stock cam. I don't see any engraving on it. Set that hardware aside. Let's yank at this camshaft. Ooh. Now there is a marking on it, S560PD, and there's red paint on it. I might run those numbers and see if it is an aftermarket cam. If it is, it's super mild, and I'm gonna replace it with something nasty. I was wrong, the cam's actually stamped 8560 space PD. If you know what that is, let me know in the comments. But as far as I'm concerned, this is scrap metal, just like the lifters and just like the push rods. This right here is the bump stick going back into Blueberry. It is an Anderson N41 roller camshaft. It's got 512 lift, it's got a 110-degree lobe separation angle, and it has a 278 intake and 286 exhaust duration. So, this should work pretty well. It's not perfect for a blower motor, but it's gonna chop hard as hell. And as you can see, I'm gonna have to clean it up a little bit with 2000 grit sandpaper and WD-40 because it's been on the shelf for so long, but then it'll go right in. Little WD, little 2000. I am a machine shop right here. Just gonna clean it right out. Give me like 10 minutes. If you haven't put it together yet, this camshaft is used. And so are the heads I'm gonna put on the car. I bought them locally from a hot rod buddy and I'm not worried about it. It's gonna work perfectly.
I just love what you're doing to that thing.
Oh yeah? Mm-hmm. Twist and squeeze.
Twist and squeeze.
All right, I've been at this for a while. I've hit all of the lobes just in case they have some microscopic surface rust, but the rough areas, I've gotten pretty damn good. It's looking good. So I'm going to clean this off super well with brake clean, get it nice and dry, and we'll toss it in. Plenty of assembly lube will be going on this before it goes in the car. Want to get it nice and sloppy. Don't want no dry starting on this thing. It's going everywhere. That's a good sign. Now we'll get this. Get this nice and greased up. In goes. Just like that. It's it.
This is the long dowel pin out of the factory cam. I'm hoping that it's long enough to retain the mechanical fuel pump lobe. There's that little spacer that goes on the end of the cam. On goes the cam retainer.
I will find the torque spec for that. Getting a little bit of lube on the brand new Cloy's double roller timing chain set. I've got it lined up dot to dot. I'm gonna come on down here. I'm gonna make sure it stays dot to dot first, like that. And then I'm gonna slide it onto both the cam and the crank. Boom, feel it bottom out, like so. Then there's this little thing that I don't really know the name of that goes in front of the crank gear. Boom, and then I could bolt the cam gear down. Now the problem I face is if I would like to use the factory mechanical fuel pump, which I want to do because I don't feel like wiring an electric one, is I need what's called a fuel pump eccentric. It's basically a cam lobe that bolts to the end of the cam gear and it spins kind of out of balance of the cam gear and pumps a little tiny thing on the mechanical fuel pump. Now the problem is I don't have a dowel pin long enough to stick out of this cam gear to go into this fuel pump eccentric. However, I have this late model fuel pump eccentric that has a little tab popped out of it that does the same thing but does not require a longer dowel pin. So I'm gonna use this. It should work just fine. If it doesn't, well then I guess I'm running an electric fuel pump. But I think it'll be all right. 45 pounds on this. Boom, cam is installed. I very well might regret this move, but it's not gonna stop me from making that move right now. I think if I goop this thing up enough, it might be okay. Emphasis on might. No going back now. I'm here to test the theory of, can you get away with it? And I'll let you know if there's a massive oil spill when we're done.
Tomorrow for sure.
It's been a decent amount of time since we filmed anything on Blueberry. We've moved it over to the other garage bay. And I've been waiting on parts, mainly lifters, head gaskets, things of that nature. And I'm still missing some things, but I've gotten enough pieces to continue building the front of the motor. So I'm gonna put the timing cover on, the water pump, and then once the other parts come in, I can assemble the top end. I could also do some wiring today, which is probably what I'm gonna be doing. But for now, I got a gasket kit right here from Felpro, so I'm going to replace the timing cover seal, and I will also install the timing cover, which cameraman and I have just cleaned up so beautifully. I'll show you a trick to install the seal. It's kind of fun. A hammer and a screwdriver gets the old seal out pretty easily. I'm going to clean the surface that seal set in with some brake clean and a paper towel and a brush and get it nice and
Pretty, just like that.
boom, perfect. I bet you don't even wipe your ass that clean. Now we take this brand new seal here and it installs from the back like this. Here's a trick to install these seals super easily. Find a flat surface, set the seal in place, and I found this particular seal, a 3-inch piece of exhaust pipe, fits right over it. Check it out. Right along the edges, and then you just use a dead blow, mallet. Boom! I'm gonna go ahead and replace this seal as well. So we got the piece off. Now, like I said before, I'm gonna be installing this kind of wrong because I have shaved off the front area of the oil pan gasket, so this thing very well might have a detrimental oil leak. I'm just hoping silicone will take up the space that the old gasket did before. So I'm gonna goop up the bottom of the timing cover all around this front seal, and I'm gonna goop up the oil pan itself up in the corners and everything because I do not want this thing leaking. That would suck a lot. While I was about to put the timing cover on, I made a realization. If you come in down here, look at my cam end play. You're supposed to have like, I don't know, 5/1000ths of an inch max. That's about 3/8 of an inch. That's real bad. Now I'm putting a roller cam in a flat tappet block. I've never done this before, and I think I forgot something or screwed something up. So I'm going to remove my cam retainer bolt, and I'm going to remove my cam sprocket. Hold the phone. Now. There is a spacer right here. Oh, but that slides in really far. The problem I'm having is when that slides in that far, it like is not lining the lifters up with the cam lobes. So if I push this in like that, there is way too much of a difference in that. And that's scary. I don't know what I did. I think I screwed something up. I'm not a super experienced engine builder. I don't know if I make it seem like I am, but I'm not. There is this little cam sprocket spacer. I'll get a magnet and pull it out real quick, but it goes in between the cam and the timing gear, so maybe if I take that out and pull the timing gear in, it'll pull it forwards more. I'm gonna try that. Right here we have this little spacer thingy. For your giggles, I'm going to toss the sprocket back on. Let's see if that fixes our problemo. Now, for funsies, I'm gonna put this back on. Okay, this might make sense. Remember how I took this fuel pump lobe off of the late model engine because that dowel pin stuck too far out from the sprocket? I believe I need to use the old lobe. See how it has a hole in it and not the stamped square? I'm really hoping this is not like the most boring video in existence of just me screwing things up. Now the dowel pin's not sticking out, but it's not in there enough to hold this in place. So for now, just for giggles, I'm not going to install any fuel pump lobe, because worst case we will put an electric fuel pump in it. I'm just going to snug this in. Now how do we line up? Oh, look at that! Whoa! Hey! Your buddy Tom kinda might have figured it out, maybe? Yeah, I think I fixed my problem, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna assemble the front end now, after I torque that bolt back down. Looks like we're doing an electric fuel pump, which honestly is probably better for a boosted motor anyways. So let's keep assembling. I'm gonna put those parts away, and I'm not gonna edit this video to look like I didn't make that mistake. So hopefully you didn't comment a couple minutes ago saying, "Oh my God, Tom, you messed that up so bad, you're gonna break the car," because I figured it out. I'm not gonna measure the end play. That looks like 5 to 7 thousandths to me. Let's keep assembling. Cam bolt, retorqued. Finally, install a timing cover. I'm going to goop this thing right up and hopefully it doesn't leak, but it might. We'll find out when the car runs. That's a later problem. I'm gonna start by siliconing the gasket to the timing cover. Remember, a little goes a long way. We'll set this into the timing cover. Line the holes up. And I can actually let this dry for a couple minutes and it'll sort of set up, maybe stay in place. That seems like it'll stick. I'm more worried about the big gap I gotta fill here. I'm just really nervous that we're gonna have a detrimental oil leak because I took so much gasket material off of the oil pan. So I'm gonna wipe this down one more time just to be positive. And then I'm going to goop the snot out of this as if it were the front of the intake. And I'm talking like Great Wall of silicone. I'm also adding silicone to the gasket surface that will go against the engine block. Okay, that looks beautiful to me. So I'm going to absolutely lather up that corner. We're going to lather up this surface here. I do not want a leak. There will be lots of comments about this egregious siliconing. Yes, I know it's cringeworthy. You don't really have to tell me.
Now I'm going to very, very liberally goop this up. We're gonna get all up in the corner here. Heavy, 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 heavy. Dear God. Don't stress, lovely viewer. It'll all be fine when it's done, maybe. Now, oh so carefully, I'll take this, set it past that bolt, and then settle it down gently. Ooh, I just felt it kind of. Ooh, wow. There's a lot of silicone down there. Okay. I'm very nervous at the moment. Very nervous. I'm not doing something nice right now. Gently, gently. I need to start a lot more bolts now. I'm very scared right now, everybody. Tom, the oil pump's gonna suck up the silicone, you're gonna lose oil pressure, and you're gonna seize the engine. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, everybody. We're getting the oil pan 2 timing cover bolts started by hand. So I'm gonna get all of these snugged up and just cross my fingers that it doesn't leak. Not going crazy yet. Also not going crazy yet because I want the silicone to kind of set. Yeah, that's what we want. Look at that. You can see my silicone wall bubbling out as I tighten. That is exactly what I want. I want the silicone wall to act as the oil pan gasket that I removed. I want that wall to form, and then I want to compress it. Snugging on top, and then we're just gonna wait. This top I can actually get pretty tight. I'm not really worried about it. There was no silicone wall for the top of the water pump. Timing cover gasket, boop. Perfect. Next up, water pump. This is the exact same aluminum water pump that I put on 8-ball. It works flawlessly. All of the accessories fit nicely. And we are done. Water pump installed. I've let that other gasket set up pretty long, so I'm gonna tighten it as well. I have here a Mopar fuel pump lock-off plate. It also fits on a small block Ford, so I am using some silicone to seal it up. It's a very silicone central project today. I'm using lots of goop. Goopy goop. Just like this, bada bing, bada boom. Now I'm tightening down the timing cover for good because it is dried enough. Oop, almost stripped that one. Whoops, tight. Am I missing any more bolts in the front? I do not believe so. That's tight. And that is too. Dipstick, which is fighting us a little bit, is installed. Perfect. Now I'm going to install my harmonic balancer. These are very nice. It's not the right one. Well, 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 I'm an idiot. It should have a flat face and it should have the capability to take a 3-bolt and 4-bolt pulley. And this one is only 4-bolt. I messed up. This is for a 5-liter. Yikes, I'm a f***ing dumbass. Well, never mind, we're not installing the harmonic balancer.
Later.
Hello, it's once again a new day, and I finally have my retrofit hydraulic roller lifters from Trick Flow. I'm gonna let these bathe in oil for quite some time while we prepare this motor for both the lifters and the head gaskets, which means we could really start assembling. I've taken a super light wire wheel and cleaned the old head gasket off of the deck surface. I have blown out and brake cleaned out the cylinder head bolt holes just to make sure there's no debris or coolant in them. And I'm just getting everything nice and wiped off and clean so we can install our cylinder heads. My aftermarket lifters right here have been bathing in oil for about 30 minutes. They've been bubbling the whole time, meaning oil has been seeping into them, which is good because they are hydraulic and you want oil in them before you put them in the motor. Now you may notice, these are link bar lifters. Factory roller engines use something called a spider. You can see there's a tray held in with 2 bolts, and that tray holds down something called a spider right there. I think that's what it is. It looks like a spider at least, so that's what I call it. The spider holds the lifters in place, and as you can see, they are machined on either side so that they can't spin. Now those are factory roller lifters, but you have to have holes drilled in the block to accept that, because it's a late model engine. This 289 does not have holes to accept that, and I do not feel like drilling holes in the block, because that's scary. So I bought these, and they should work perfectly. So let's put them in.
Oh yeah, come on, don't be shy. Yeah. Ooh, these ought to be real nice.
We're up here in the shop next to Escalade where I've been storing parts secretively. We have roller rockers, we have trick flow push rods, and we have trick flow 170 cylinder heads. These have a 61cc combustion chamber, which is going to reduce our compression ratio to about 8.5 to 1, which is not awesome, but I don't feel like taking them to the machine shop to get anything milled off to bump up the compression. And with the Supercharger, I don't think we're going to care. So these are ready to go on the engine. Now, these heads were on a running engine, and I almost always take used cylinder heads to the machine shop just to get a resurface to make sure they're flat, but I was told they were not run long at all, so I'm not gonna care too much. But that might bite me in the ass. We might blow another head gasket because I did not get them resurfaced, but we're gonna rock with it and see what happens. Engine is all cleaned off, deck surface prepped. I've also gotten the cylinder heads super cleaned off. Every little bit of old material is removed that I can get. Now looking at them, I'm kind of regretting that I did not get them resurfaced at a machine shop, but we'll toss them on. It should be fine. But if we pop a head gasket, then we know we should have probably gotten the deck surface machined and also the cylinder heads machined, but we'll see if that happens. I've used so much brake clean to clean the heads off and the motor off. I feel like I can see colors. Exactly. That's how high I am. Now, before I install the cylinder heads, I will install these Cometic 27 thousandths compressed thickness head gaskets. I entered into a Summit Racing compression ratio calculator with all of the engine specifications and the cylinder head combustion chamber size. And with these, basically the thinnest head gaskets you can buy, I have gotten the compression ratio to 8.5 to 1, which is not fantastic, but like I said, it'll be just fine with a blower. Ooh. I'm getting excited, it's getting real. Blueberry's gonna be fast. One cylinder head, sitting on Cometic head gasket number 2. Boom, cylinder head number 2 sitting in position. To tighten these down, we have ARP cylinder head bolts because we're boosting this thing. I also bought these inserts in case the bolt was too small for the cylinder head holes, but they're not. I've got thread lubricant on these, and I'm gonna start them gently. I'm gonna torque the cylinder heads down to 70 foot-pounds in 3 equal steps, so 70 divided by 3 is roughly 23. So 23 foot-pounds, and then 46 foot-pounds, and then 70 foot-pounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And heads are officially installed. Next thing I'm gonna play with is the push rods. Now these are the push rods I bought with the heads and the cam, and I've done no push rod measuring, so I'm going to see if they work. I'm a little bit nervous because I don't know how these link bar lifters compare to stock roller lifters. I don't think they're the same height, but I don't know. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball and see how we're looking. These are trick flow hardened push rods. While I play with those two, I'm gonna go set the rest in oil, let them bubble up, get nice and greasy. What I have here are ProForm roller rockers. Now before I install 2 of them on this front cylinder just to test the push rods, I'm going to take a Sharpie. Now this is how I test push rod length.
I'm going to color the top of the valves evenly with a Sharpie. Make sure they're nice and coated. And then I'm going to take my roller rockers and I'm going to install them as if I was going to run the engine.
Now how I install these roller rockers with hydraulic lifters is I hand tighten them.
Now it has been a hot minute since I've installed the top end on a small block Ford, but how I tighten these down is I spin the push rods just with my fingers and tighten the other bolt by hand, and as soon as I feel resistance right here, I stop tightening by hand. And what I'm gonna do
is get my wrench and I'm going to tighten it another half turn from light drag, what you just saw. Spinning with my fingers and feeling the drag means I've reached the top of the lifter, the hydraulic portion, and then when I go another half turn, that kind of sets the push rod into the hydraulic portion of the lifter so you won't have clatter. Again, I haven't done this in a while, but I'm pretty sure that's how I did in the past, and it should work, at the very least, well enough to test the wear pattern with our push rods. Now I don't know if that was gonna be enough spin to wear on the top of the valves, but we're gonna pop them off and find out.
Let's cross our fingers that that was enough. Ah, damn. Look at that. Do you see how the wear line is at the bottom corner and not right in the middle? That would probably cause problems. Damn.
I was really hopeful that those random push rods I bought would magically be the right ones.
So close. Now, in trying to figure out if I need a longer or shorter push rod, I've just removed one of them. And we can set a rocker on and look. Where the rocker arm contacts the top of the valve, if we raise it up, it moves towards the outside of the valve. We drop it down, it moves back towards the middle where it needs to be. And that tells me that we need shorter push rods. So,
I'm gonna go run around up in the parts stash and just cross my fingers that I have shorter push rods. And I need these same hardened push rods, tinier ones, because as you can see, I got a parts motor right here, but it has stock push rods in it, which are shorter and would probably work. But A, they're not hardened, B, they're too large and would likely rub the push rod keepers that I have on those cylinder heads. Now I'm under the impression I need stock length hardened push rods, and I just showed you the actual stock push rods won't work because they will rub the retainers here. So I'm going to test these, because just cranking the motor over with them a couple times is not gonna hurt anything. All right, well, I'm already worried because the stock length push rods make it so the locking Allen bolts don't fit anymore. There's not enough thread for them to grab, so that's not a good sign.
yeah, we're honestly pretty close. Not quite in the middle, but pretty close.
I'm gonna say stock length would probably work, but it's a little close for comfort. A little close to the top. I need slightly longer than stock. Okay. I sure do hope that my overnighted push rods will be here overnight. Because the stock length is 6.25 and my way too long ones are 6.7 inches, I'm guesstimating that I need push rods that are 6.3 or 6.4 inches. So I've bought both of them off Summit and hopefully they'll be here tomorrow because I paid for overnight shipping and I really, really hope it works because I really want to have this car running by the end of this video. So, let's keep tinkering on things we can tinker with that are not valve train related. That means we could put the intake on and the supercharger. Huh? Look what I have. Everybody recognize it? 8 Ball's original supercharger. It's gonna be perfect on Blueberry. Oh, hi 8 Ball. Remember when I made your engine melt pistons with the supercharger on it? Quick touch-up job on this. I don't have quite the right paint. I don't have engine paint, but I do have GM silver. You can't even see the blown 289 sludge all over it anymore. Shoo-wee! Look at that! I'm gonna toss on the intake manifold gaskets as usual. Just adding a little silicone around the water jacket holes. Nowhere else. Boom. Now I'm going to build the great wall of goop on the front and the back. Beautiful. Lovely, everybody says. Wow. Now, hop in here. Lower intake. I only want to set this down once. I've got nice ARP hardware that I'm getting snugged up here with the impact before torquing. Hopefully this intake's not warped from reaching nuclear insane temperatures on 8 Ball. I have my supercharger gasket right here. Only one gasket this time, everybody. Remember? Remember when I put 1.5 gaskets on 8 Ball, but it didn't cause any problems? Uh-oh. It was standing up waiting for me. Oh no. I didn't line it up very well. Whew. Man, that's shiny. I like the metallic paint that I used off the S10. Supercharger installed.
Tomorrow for sure.
We are on the last day of wrenching on Blueberry for this video, and I'm determined to get it to start. Unfortunately, my harmonic balancer is not even shipping yet, so it's not going to be here in time, but I can use the factory one for right now. I'm just not going to be able to run it with all the accessories and everything yet, but we can at least get it together and get it fired up and listen to that 289. So I'm going to slap this on. wait for my push rods, and then we'll be able to assemble the rest of the valve train. I'm excited. This is only temporary. Perfect. That's the right way to install that. Next up is electrical. I'm turning this old Virginia license plate, which oddly enough is made out of really thick aluminum, and I'm building a switch panel. That drill bit is tired. Test fit a switch. Beautiful. Now my nice piece of aluminum is hammered, but it'll work. I'm gonna try and get creative here because I just hammered the shit out of that. I'm gonna make it look beautiful and awesome using a roll lock wheel. Hopefully I can make it look machined. Watch this. Well, that didn't work that well. Maybe I'll try again. Well, I think that method only works on larger pieces of metal, and I also can guarantee I did it wrong, but that looks marginally interesting at least. Just like on 8-ball, I will be using speaker wire. Thankfully, we're not doing anything super crazy with this. We're using it just to trigger relays. So I have my little switches here. I already have a power wire that comes into the car for the fans, so I'm gonna jump it over to both switches. One switch will tell the MSD box and the fuel pump to turn on, and then the other switch will tell the fan to turn on. Simple as that. I'm gonna put the switch panel right below the cigarette lighter, so it's pretty close to the ignition switch, but it's not gonna be bugging my leg too much when I'm driving. And I can flick, hit the key. We're wired. We've got a fused power wire powering the switches, and then we have a trigger wire, fan relay, and then another trigger wire for the MSD box, fuel pump, and AEM gauge that we were about to install. So I'm going to put them right there. That should look pretty good. Next thing I'm tossing in, these came out of 8-ball. I've got the rally pack with an air fuel gauge and the boost gauge. I gotta run these through here, and I also gotta install my accessory gauges so we can monitor oil pressure. Next thing I'm doing is gonna install the oil pressure gauge. I kinda am stepping away from the engine itself because I'm still waiting on my push rods to come in, and kind of can't do much until then, so I may as well get everything wired so we can plug and play when the parts get here. Up next, water temperature sender. Boom. Last gauge to hook up, boost gauge. Thankfully, 8-ball already did half of this work for us. We've got our gauges installed. I have yet to install the AEM signal because I have to drill a hole in the exhaust and put a bung in it, but we are all together in here. We've got our badass switches with our very poorly made switch panel. We've got accessory gauges, we've got a boost gauge. This area is finished. And now, just as we finish all the electrical and gauge work, we have push rods that came in the mail. I didn't exactly measure these, but I think one of them will work. I'm gonna try the 6.4 inch ones first because they were about equidistant, uneven, too small to too big, and this is right in between the sizes that we tested, so I estimate they will be perfectly fine. Verdict is on the 6.4 inch push rods. Right in the middle. Right smack dab in the middle. That looks pretty good to me.
Who needs to measure?
Yeah, who needs to measure push rods? I was catching a lot of flack here in this shop about not measuring my push rods. Now I'm gonna get the rocker set in place and just kind of finger tight basically. I'm starting to realize that my idea of this car running in this video is slipping away fast. I have bitten off far more than I can chew. I realize there is so much more I have to do around installing the distributor, wiring the MSD box, plumbing up the fuel system, putting headers on it. I don't think I'm gonna do that all today. Now it's time for the rather tedious task of installing the rocker arms. This is a little bit tough, but it's really not that hard. Basically, you have to adjust a rocker arm when its cylinder is at top dead center, or it's on the base of the cam lobe, so there's no pressure on the rocker arm. So right now I have the engine at top dead center, and I'm gonna do this in 3 different positions. So when it's at top dead center, I have this super helpful graphic here that tells me what to do and when to do it, and if you're doing it at home, you're gonna want it. Basically, when it's at top dead center, I can adjust these 2 rockers, these 2 rockers, and these 2 rockers. Then I have to rotate the motor over 180 degrees or a half a turn, and then I can adjust these 2 rockers and these 2 rockers. And I have to do that 3 times in total. It's not that hard to do, it's a little hard to explain, but I'm just gonna do it and stop talking. Position 1 is tight. These 2 rockers are installed, so are these ones, and so are these 2. Now I'm gonna crank the motor over a half of a turn. I'm gonna start with this straight up and down. I'm gonna rotate it 90 degrees, and now my timing marker should be opposite to where it is on the damper now. Yep. Okay, position 2 achieved. I hope this isn't boring. If it is, get over it.
Boom. Boom.
You can feel Pushrod wanting to have resistance, and then the lifter kind of allows it to go in the rest of the way. Position 2 is done. Now for position 3, I gotta do 3/4 of a turn in total. So there was a nice half turn, and there was a quarter turn. Almost done.
1 and 2.
We have adjusted all of the rocker arms. Next thing I think I'm going to tackle is installing the headers. Alright, that's all I'm going to do. Now I don't even know if these are going to install easily at all. They might not. But I'm going to try and feed them up through the bottom, and maybe we can get them started. As usual, I bought everything off eBay, and I can already clearly see that the passenger header is not going to fit without moderate hammering. That's okay. I'm not scared of a hammer. These are shorty headers. There is absolutely no chance of me running long tubes with a car this low. They would immediately get ground to shreds. I've drawn out where I need to beat the crap out of it with a hammer, but before I do that, I'm gonna get the other side tested and see where I need to hammer it. Okay, well, driver's side header is proving to be absolutely impossible to install. eBay headers are hit or miss. Oftentimes, a big miss, and I don't know if these are going to work at all. I could just put the stock manifolds on it, but that would probably rob 50 horsepower. And I don't want to do that. It would make it so I didn't have to modify the exhaust at all, but it would steal a lot of horsepower. I don't know if I want that. I am also discovering my valve covers are not going to work with these rockers. I think I need valve cover spacers. Wow, things are going downhill. I'm going to ignore my current failures, and I'm going to move on installing the distributor. This is a Pro Build distributor, the exact same one. I put an 8-ball. I can adjust the timing curve and the max timing with bushings and springs, which I will do. I'm going to set it up exactly like I did with 8-ball. So as you can see here, I have different colored bushings and I have different springs. And the way you install the springs and the bushings affects the timing curve, how fast full timing advance comes in, and how high of timing you get on top of base timing. So I'm gonna set this up exactly how I did 8-ball. I gotta check, but I think it was like a green bushing and a silver spring or something. I'll let you know in a second, and I'm gonna get this thing popped in. Also, on an unrelated note, I've had a lot of people comment and tell me that the reason 8-ball blew up was because I had the timing wrong. The reason it blew up was because I flung off a water pump belt and then drove it 5 miles, detrimentally overheating, which popped the head gasket, and then I drove it 20 minutes after that, also overheating. That is why it blew up. It had nothing to do with my timing, so I'm going to implement the exact same timing on this engine, because this one ran super happy, and before it flung off that water pump belt, it was still ticking. After a fair amount of research and studying the different possible timing curves and configurations, I've decided on my hot tune. I'm going to do 12 degrees initial timing, which is going to give us a nasty camshaft with that Anderson camshaft. I'm going to do 30 degrees total timing, which if I run 93 octane, it'll probably be okay. Probably won't blow the car up. 32 would be pushing it. 30 should be fine. And I want all of that timing in by 3,000 RPM. So, in order to do that, I need to install 1 black bushing, 1 heavy silver spring, and 1 light silver spring. Currently, it has 2 heavy silver springs in it, and underneath here, you will not be able to see it, but there is a purple bushing in there. So I'm gonna take the purple one out, put the black one in, take 1 heavy silver spring out, put 1 light silver spring in, and then we can just plop this thing right in there and get ready to go. Although we're not gonna go today, because I'm almost out of time. Silver light spring installed. Removing the little tiny bolt that holds the bushing in. Out comes that blue bushing that was in there. Wasn't purple.
And I'll take the black one. And I will oh so carefully get it in there. This is very tough.
Okay, washers on.
When you done this started, we are dropping it, please. My pinky.
Oh, hide your mom. I'm coming. Hard part is done. Now we are ready to install. All I gotta do is decide which cylinder I want to make top dead center. So I'm gonna go get playing with it on the motor. Before I do that, I should probably assembly lubricate it.
Now I think I'm gonna put it in like this. Just feels good to me. I wanna put this in a way where it's not gonna interfere with the supercharger. Oh, it went in like that. Do we have twistability?
And I'm just gonna send it the way it popped in there.
Calling this right here
Cylinder number 1. And it is just about perfectly pointed at it right now. I'm gonna point it right at it, just for giggles, right there. Where's my hold down? I'm gonna get the hold down very loosely installed there because we're gonna have to set base timing when we fire it up. But distributor is now in. Guys, the shop is an absolute wreck. And Blueberry parts are everywhere. It looks like Blueberry exploded. I was really hoping by now to have the car at the very least fired up, but that's just not the reality. I've been working on this thing off and on for 3 weeks now, and today is officially the last day, seeing as this video goes live in under 23 hours, and I need my lovely editor Max to have time to actually edit it so you can watch it. So I have to stop on Blueberry, but we can at least just kind of look at it most of the way together and imagine how badass it's gonna be when this thing fires up, chops, whines, and makes so much horsepower it absolutely obliterates one white wall tire. I'm super duper excited about that, but we just have too many holdups. I don't have the right harmonic balancer, so I can't install the front accessories. Those cheap eBay headers let me down, so I need to buy better ones, because I do not want to use the stock 289 log manifolds. That's going to rob 50 plus horsepower. I can't be having that, especially as an exhaust guy. I also need better valve covers. I need to wire in the MSD box. I need to install a fuel pump. I need to do so many things to actually make this car run, let alone drive. So I just got to be done today. I can't work on it anymore, but that's the reality of hot rodding. Sometimes you don't get the project done. Sometimes you got to walk away from the shop, a complete pigsty, with your other car that you also haven't fixed sitting right next to it. That's just Tom's Refurb. Hey, at the very least, we still got the best damn automotive content on YouTube, so thanks for being here. Be sure to check out Tom's Refurb Raw Patreon because we are launching a hilarious video this week that you need to see. Check out Speedy's equipment if you want some boom tubes because they are coming back in stock this week. And check out Tom'sRefurb.shop if you want some badass merch. I love you guys so much. I really do. A lot. Crazy amount. A crazy amount. A crazy amount. A crazy amount. Crazy amount. Bye.